What's up, Desktopers? Welcome back to another weekly bodybuilding breakdown with myself, Xavier Wills, and Michael Galley. And today we're discussing Calum Von Moger in his comeback. We've got new updates from him. James Hollingshead in the British Grand Prix, and also should Big Ramy get an invite to the 2020 Mr Olympia. Mick, how are you doing this week?
Mate, good morning from across the world.
Yeah, good evening from here. It's 10.
Normally we're recording at opposite times. It's night time for me. It's morning for you. So, yeah, I'm good. How are you? Well, you sound a bit croaky.
I sound rough, yeah. And I think everyone, anywhere I go, I think they think I'm sick and got coronavirus or something. But it's literally just from yelling at a bodybuilding contest for my client on the weekend, and he was in 3 divisions, and then he's in the overall, and he won the overall, which is cool. But yeah, it wrecked my voice, and I literally had one day where I just had nothing, and I was like, I went to record a video, I was like, "What's up there?" I'm like, "No, it's not happening. I can't do it." So
this one.
Yeah, it's been rough, but let's get straight into it, man, because we've got a few good topics here to talk about. So Calum Von Moger making his comeback. He's 4 weeks out now. I'm going to bring up and share my screen as we've been doing in recent weeks as well. I'll see if I can actually do this because I've been struggling a little bit with this. It's actually on the wrong page there, but let's go. I think that should be working now. Can you see the Calum Von Moger?
Yep, got it.
So here he is.
Followers, didn't he?
Sorry?
Got some followers.
He's got a couple, just only 3.1 million though, so he needs to up his game. But you can see here, he's got these photos up 6 weeks and 15 pounds difference. So you can obviously see the photos here on the left compared to the photos on the right. He's definitely gained a lot of quality muscle back on his physique, which is sort of like obviously not to the same level, but I like to do that during a prep for sure. But he's, yeah, like it looks like a solid 15 pounds of muscle and maybe even a little bit leaner. And then he put up this posing video as well where he's really getting back to sort of near where he was in terms of upper body wise. What are you thinking about his progress updates?
Yeah, I'm loving it, mate. You and I have been a fan of Calum for a long time, since we actually saw him in 2013, was it, at the NABBA Southern? Yeah, years ago when we were doing play-by-plays. Man, I love Calum's physique, and I've been watching his updates come along, and he's definitely putting that size back on it in his upper body. We haven't seen, like, here you can kind of just see some of his legs, like his left side's obviously he's stronger one. He tore that right one, but he's getting back up there. It's not the Calum. Remember we had Calum, the bodybuilder Calum, before his injuries, when he was actually huge. If you saw him in person, he was massive. Yeah. This is more of a streamlined down Calum, but it's got to be because he's got to make that height and weight class.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got some giant arms on him, as you can see there. He's got some just freaky proportions, and he really does sort of look like Arnold in a lot of ways. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed, man. Like overall, from what he's come from, because we saw he shrunk right down for a while there and was actually like, normally say like a skinny sort of a dude. With all his injuries and whatnot, but he's bounced back pretty damn well. And I'm excited to see sort of how he looks. Upper body wise, I have no real concerns. I think he'll get harder than this. I think he'll be in decent enough condition. It's just whether those legs are so much of a detriment that it actually hurts him, because there is an imbalance between one leg and the other. And plus both of them sort of look downsized to me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see a bit more of a better look when he's sort of got well, I suppose that was a side on look there as well. We know Calum brings condition, like he'll be extremely hard and lean on the comp day, and depending on which ones he does coming up, I know he's going to try and get that pro card. I'm pretty sure he's able to now with his visa set up over there, and that would get him into the pro ranks, which is something that he's wanted to do. So I'm interested to see how he goes, though. So I mean, he's got a fantastic shape. He's got a good look. He's actually a lot bigger when you see him in person, even like this. Like he is heaps bigger. He's quite tall as well, so he will look pretty dominating up on that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And he really does have like just a pleasing shape overall. So I'm excited to see what Calum looks like when he does compete. I believe it's going to be at the Governor's Cup, as far as I can tell. He hasn't actually said that, I don't think, publicly, but it sort of adds up with his how many weeks out he is. And then the Nationals, I think, are a week or so later. So hopefully, I mean, I'd love to see him get his pro card. I do have doubts because of his leg, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's move on. James Hollingshead has come out. He's doing the British Grand Prix after he won that Europa show over there in Spain, and really did bring his all-time best package. But I think by the looks of what James looks like in his progress photos to what he brought on stage, I think he can be even better. But what do you think about him doing the British Grand Prix? Because it obviously hurts guys, you know, if they do fall behind him like Samson Dowder. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's probably a good move for James, mate, because there's uncertainty now whether he can do the Olympia, because England's gone back into some severe lockdowns. So probably a good move on his part. Probably not so good for Samson and that, because I think Samson was really hoping to maybe go in there and secure a win, so he qualifies for next year. I think we're going to see a better James, though. I think him and Pat have probably got a couple of little things to work out, which they'll bring into this English Grand Prix. I see James taking it out again, unless something drastic happens in the last couple of weeks. I see James definitely taking it out again. But that's, like I said, with a improved package. I think he'll be fuller, and I think he'll be harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for that contest as well, and I'm excited to see if Samson can improve, because that dude has been prepping so long. It's ridiculous. Like, and even if Samson was to get second, which, you know, I hope he wins, you know, because I know Samson personally, but even if he is to get second, I think that, you know, they'll give him 4 points for next year, and then he can hopefully go into next year and hopefully win a show. But if not, you know, accrue more points to potentially qualify. But let's discuss Big Ramy. So there's a lot of talk around. Nick Strength and Power has been pushing it pretty hard about Big Ramy getting an invite to the 2020 Mr Olympia. And it's been up for debate, because some people say, you know, he hasn't earned it. Maybe he should have done earlier shows. It's sort of on him. Other people saying that, you know, he did test positive, so it's sort of out of his control, and he would have qualified at that Europa show, unless he was just grossly off, which I don't think he would have been that far off to actually miss out. What's your thoughts, Mick, on if Big Ramy should get a qualification for the 2020 Mr Olympia?
Yeah, there's a lot of debate in different YouTube channels over this as well. I think, mate, Ramy's had a raw deal. He did Columbus, you know, gathered quite a few points there as well. Was on his way to Australia to do the Australian Arnold Classic, which that would have qualified him absolutely for the Olympia. Unfortunately, he got stuck in Dubai, and he was there for quite a while. Obviously, they closed the Arnolds down in Australia, so he was unlucky there. And then he also got unlucky coming into Spain with his positive corona test, which is unfortunate as well. I think he should get an invite, man. I can't see why you would let one of the biggest names not compete after, obviously, things were out of his control. He hasn't been out of the top 6 since he's been in the Olympia. He's one of the biggest draw cards. He's got a huge fan base. So, mate, if I was Dan Solomon and the guys that were running the show, I'd definitely be, you know, he'd be one of my main picks for that wild card, if they are giving them out, because there is quite a massive lineup as it is.
Yeah, and we've obviously flexed Lewis out of the show as well. That sort of opens up that invite, where they haven't given one. I believe there's no actual other special invites at this year's Olympia, as far as I know, because Phil Heath, obviously, he's qualified already because he's a previous Mr Olympia champion, same as Dexter, same as Brandon, obviously. And I can't think of any other names that haven't qualified legitimately so far. And Dan Solomon did say to me that it's typically one a year they give away, like in terms of the special invites, but they do have the ability to give more as well. So I think the Big Ramy will get the invite. But I would be saying this. I'll be saying, Ramy, okay, we'll give you the invite. Just send us the positive test, send us the forms or whatever. And if he does supply those, then I would say you're in. Because I feel like, you know, he did get stuck in Dubai. He obviously had the Arnold Classic Australia cancelled him very, very last minute. He did do the Arnold Classic in Columbus this year. It's totally different to last year when he was hoping for an invite, because he hadn't even competed that year. So I think it's 2 totally different stories. And I think if you're going to give it to Cedric McMillan last year, and, you know, it was military related, but it was part of his job. I think he did know that what he was going to have to do, he was going to have to do as part of his job. It wasn't like it was something that just sprung up on him last minute, as far as I know. So I was sort of almost against giving it to Cedric McMillan, but I am for giving it to Big Ramy in this certain situation.
If they didn't give it to Ramy, who could you see getting the invite if it wasn't Ramy?
The only other person I can think of, man, is Samson.
Yeah.
Just because he had that bad luck and getting stuck in Korea for all those weeks. And then, you know, like even before that, he was, you know, sort of, I thought he was going to get an invite to the Arnold Classic Australia, because I was helping Samson for a little bit as well. And you know, their responses almost sounded a little bit like he might be getting an invite. And he didn't get the invite there, but obviously it was probably for the best, though, to be honest. Then he was going to go do Brazil Arnold Classic, and that got cancelled. And then he obviously did go and do Korea. He showed up at the airport to go and do Tampa and got turned away after he did all the papers. The IFBB helped him out, and he rocked up there and he just got the wrong person and they just turned him away. And so he's had a lot of, I suppose, heartbreak in terms of all that. He did compete plenty. He still secured like 7 points in the Olympia point standing. So I can definitely make a case for Samson, but I'll definitely make a case for Big Ramy as well.
I mean, there's also, if that's the case with England too, like even if Samson got the invite, he probably wouldn't be able to come out. But if Ramy does get the invite, if I was him, I'd be getting out here as soon as possible, just in case there's more things happening. I'd be getting my butt out here and finding a place to set up camp and just put your head down and train hard for it.
Yeah, if I was his sponsor, I would say, look, Ramy, get over there. We'll pay for your accommodation, whatever it takes, you know, because it's worth something to his sponsorship as well, Dragon Farmers. So because him doing well in the Olympia and even just competing in the Olympia, placing top 5, it's going to, you know, obviously help their branding and all that sort of stuff. So I'd be doing whatever I could if I was Ramy. And, you know, last year, but apparently he didn't even actually properly submit what do you call it, like a application to get a special invite. So that's what Dan Solomon came out and said in the Olympia crew. So hopefully he's gone through the proper channels and, you know, requested an invite and he's able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know for myself personally, I'd like to see him in there because he is one of the top guys. We want to see all the top guys up against each other. Unfortunately, now we know Sean's out. He put that YouTube up a couple of days ago. So I mean, I guess we all pretty much knew that was probably going to be the case. You got Kai out, now you got Flex out. So I would love to see Ramy in there to fill that wow spot.
And it seems like we're going to have Nathan D'Asher out, James Hollingshead as well. So there's quite a few guys that are like guys that could probably walk into a top 10 but are missing, but it's still a really good lineup. So I just did a video and actually just put it out probably about 6 hours before this video is going to go up. And I actually discussed, you know, I did my top 18. Literally, I picked 18 to first with my Olympia picks, and it always gets a bit of debate. Some people saying, oh, great picks, and then other people saying, like, you have no idea about bodybuilding and all that sort of stuff. But who's your early pick from the 2020 Mr. Olympia? Is it Phil Heath? Is it Brandon Curry? Let us know.
I've got Phil and Brandon fighting for 1 and 2. And unfortunately, it's hard because we don't know. Like if Phil's stomach hasn't improved, and none of us know, then I can legit see Brandon getting up there and taking it because Brandon's improving again. He's looking amazing at the moment, especially his upper body. Everyone keeps going about his legs, but his legs from the side are awesome. There's no doubt about it. I mean, let's face it, Phil's hammies are ridiculous and Phil from the front as well. But Brandon doesn't possess legs that are like underdeveloped. They suit his body quite well. They're just a bit thin at the front. But yeah, they're still at the moment. They're my 1 and 2. And I guess it's one of those things we just don't know at this stage.
Yeah, and I think Brandon's going to be bringing something different this year because he's had. I mentioned this in my other video as well. He's had just over 15 months to train for this comp, as opposed to when he did the Arnold Classic. He said when he was doing the Olympia, he said it was a lot harder to get leaner, and he said he felt like his body was just a bit tired, but he's still good enough to win the Olympia, obviously. So now he's had 15 months between comps or just over. I think that he's going to come in and I think he's going to look by far his all-time best, and an all-time best Mr. Olympia losing the Olympia is not something I think we've ever seen before. So
yeah, you're right. That's a tough one. And like you said, his updated photos, especially the last one where he's doing that most muscular with his hands together, he's looking sharp for 9 weeks out. He's fuller, he's bigger, he's tighter. So I'm excited. Brandon's a good guy. I'm really excited to see him up there.
Yeah, I've been talking to Brandon pretty regularly, and just even though we're not really going deep into conversations about it and stuff like that, to me, he just seems confident. You know what I mean? Nothing's really worrying him. Nothing seems to anyway, but he just seems confident. So that's always a good sign. And plus he's posting up heaps of updates. So that's obviously a good sign as well, that he's happy with how he's looking, because I don't think we've ever seen a Mr. Olympia post this many updates while they're prepping, at least this far out.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, which is great to see. So that's it for another episode of a Weekly Bodybuilding Breakdown. We're going to actually have one come out tomorrow, and we're going to do a Q&A. So make sure you post your questions in the comments below. I think there's a couple on the other video we did, Mick, as well, from last week, where we asked for a few questions too. And yeah, we'll bring that to you guys tomorrow as well. So Mick, do you have any final last words?
Oh, I'm good. I'm going to cook breakfast.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, I'm going to get to bed. So have my last meal, get my ass to bed because, yeah, my son waking up at 5 a.m. is getting a bit old. But anyway, that's it for another episode of a Weekly Bodybuilding Breakdown. Head to hostile.com if you want to get some amazing supplements. It's HOSSTILE.com. Use ZAVE10. You'll get 10% off your order. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills, at Desktop Bodybuilding, and you won't miss another Weekly Bodybuilding Breakdown. So for Xavier Wills and Michael Galley, we are out.